Well, I'm part of a Sunday school group, and we belong to Memorial Drive United Methodist Church. So every year we go and buy Walmart cards that cover incidentals for our families to go along with the presents that we give them. So on Monday, I went to the Walmart at Westheimer in Kirkwood, and I purchased $1,000 worth of Walmart gift cards. The next day, I always take the activation code and I tape it on the back of the card so that the person that receives it realizes that, yes, this is how much money they have and that it has been activated. When I tried to do that, I realized only one card, the activation code matched the number on the back of the card. So I had 3 cards there worth $800 that the activation codes did not match the number on the back of the card. So I went over to the Walmart and I talked to, I think what you'd call probably the floor manager over there. And they needed to see the receipt. They needed to go look at the camera footage that showed, yes, I actually purchased the cards. We ran the cards through, and one card had already been, I don't know whether you call it drained. All the while, the cards have been only in my possession. So the question was, how does this happen? And if this has happened to us, who else is this happening to? Because what you have to do is you pick up the cards basically around the register areas, but you have to go to the money center to actually get the cards activated. So they have you on camera. They can go back and look at the camera. They can see that, yes, it was you. You were purchasing these cards. They wanted to see my receipt. And then after that, it was like, well, we're going to have to look into it. So when I went back, they said, yes, they had seen camera of, I think, somebody using the card at the Wayside, I believe it was the Wayside Walmart. And I asked to talk to the general manager of the store that I was at, and they said, well, you know, he can't talk to you. This is not a problem at our store. If you want to get the money back on this card, you have to go over to Wayside to get the money put back to the card. And I said, I don't want the money put back on the card, because if it got drained once, why would it not get drained again? There's a problem going on. We want our money back. And they said, we're sorry, we can't give you your money back. Your only chance of getting any money back is taking this one card over to the other Walmart and talking to them. And that is when they started not being very friendly. Once again, could not reach any person by phone or could not ever talk to the general manager. And then I had to go out of town, so I passed it on to my friend, Brenda Dealey.
Let me ask you another question. Any idea what happened? How?
When you look at the card, the back of the card, it is not at all obvious that anything has happened to that card. The only problem that I had was that the activation code on my receipt did not match the card number that I had in my possession. So 3 of the 4 cards had card numbers that did not match activation codes. And as it turned out, those are the 3 cards that got drained.
What about the police? Do you make a police report? What did they say to you?
Brenda and I went over and talked to the police. We gave them a report. They took our information, and then we had a chance to talk to a detective yesterday. Very, very nice gentleman, and they are going to be looking into it, and they don't know whether this is possibly an inside job or whether it is just a situation where it has to do with people figuring out how to take Walmart cards. And even though they do not have them in their possession, they are able to use them. And we don't know, we have no answers.
So what next? You know, do you want your money back? Do you want a response from Walmart? You know, I think Walmart is not doing enough right now in this case, no?
Well, I went ahead and called my Capital One credit card, which is what I put it on, and they have put a hold on the payment. I will have to give them more information for them to maintain that hold. But yes, we need our money back. We're going to come up with something different for our families, but we'll be giving money to our families this Sunday. Obviously, we will not be giving them Walmart cards. But, you know, 2 things. We got no response from the general manager at Walmart or really anyone else. if this is happening to us, we are not the only people. Because the cards are just there around the register area. You have to take them to the money center to get them activated. We can't be the only people that are having this problem. There are going to be an awful lot of people at Christmas that are going to get their cards. They're going to go and purchase things. And when they get to the cash register, those cards will have no money on them.
How do you feel about that?
That's a terrible thing. That is a terrible thing to happen. And like I said, it can't be just us. But if we had not gotten this figured out, we would have been handing out cards to our families. They would have been filling up their baskets with toys and food. They would have gotten to the cash register, and cards that had been given to them by a church would be empty. And that is a terrible thing. And that needs to be fixed. They need to figure out what's going on. In the meantime, I myself would like to see them take every single one of those Walmart cards away from the cash registers so that nobody else can use them.
Anything else that you want to add that you think is important?
Brenda took over and actually went to the other Walmart where the first card was hacked. And
So they already start using those cards.
3 cards have been totally drained, and they've been drained at 3 different Walmarts. Is that correct, Brenda?
That is correct. The first one was, go ahead.
Now, are you done? Do you have anything to say?
1, we need our money back. 2, Walmart has a big problem. And 3, response from somebody in the store would be helpful. To have radio silence on something like this that affects other people is not the way to go to make anybody want to shop at that store.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, now I'm going to go to the other side.
You moved the look spot. Where do I look now?
You look perfect.
No, not what. How do I look? Where do I look?
I'll let you know.
Okie doke.
Okay. See. You're gonna look right here. I'm gonna be. Let me see. Look right. Right. Perfect. All right. Give me your name and last name and spell it for me, please.
Brenda Dealey, D-E-A-L-Y.
Miss Brenda, you know, I don't think this is fair what happened to your friend. You know? Can you just talk to me a little bit about it?
When Susan had to leave town, she brought all of the gift cards and information to our house, and we followed up on Friday of last week. When we got to the store, the floor manager with whom Susan had spoken was clearly upset that this was still an issue for her because she had given Susan a solution that she believed Susan had chosen not to take. So, as a result, she insisted that we have to go to Walmart on Wayside to get any money back at all, thinking at that point only 1 card was drained. At that point, I asked her if she would run the other 2 cards to see if they were safe, or the other 3 cards at that point. 1 was still fine, 2 had been drained by that point. And she immediately had a change in her facial expression and in her demeanor toward us, realizing that Walmart had a bigger problem than 1 card. So we decided to drive over to Wayside. When we got there, still unable to speak to a general manager, but a very nice floor manager at Wayside checked it and said, I don't show a transaction for that time with what I can see. The floor manager would have to look further if it were a video. So we left. There was nothing else for us to do. And the floor manager at Kirkwood told us that she would have an answer for us on Monday. At that point, she told us that there was nothing they could do. They didn't give refunds on gift cards. And for us to get our money back, we had to wait for the Walmart fraud division to finish their investigation. And she had no idea how long that would take. And as Susan had just said, we are literally giving that money to families this Sunday with Christmas presents. And felt a little pressed for time. And so that's why we're here. In the time that we began talking to Walmart, there are still, to this day, hundreds of cards at the register that people can just walk in and take. How they do it, we have no idea, but they are still able to do that. It surprises me that cigarettes are locked up in a store. You have to have a key to get in and protect the cigarettes. You have to have a key to get in and protect other things from being shoplifted. But no one is thinking to protect the gift cards that are going to innocent people who need them. So that's where we are.
You know, when a person have, for example, your card, and is going to Walmart to get something with that card, that person must be in camera. It must be the,
Yes.
you know, and there's a web video of Walmart. See, okay, this is the person that he's using the card on Miss Susan. They don't do anything about that? Because
At this point, no. They even told us there was a video
they need
available.
to check the security cameras.
They have, and nothing has moved forward to our knowledge from what we're told.
So what next?
That's where it ended. There's nothing else they can tell us except you have to wait for fraud,
Which is why we went to the police.
and contacted you. Because this is susceptible to anybody buying a gift card from any store where the card is hanging out in full view to be picked up at will. It can be picked up by the wrong person and put back.
Anything else that you want to add that you think is
No.
important?
Can I just add that
Oh, okay, let me read it.
okay. I would just like to add that when you look at the back of the card, it is not apparent at all that it has been manipulated. So if you were to look at the back of a card and say, this one looks like a good one, nobody's scratched it, there's no sign that anybody has messed with it, those are the cards that I have in my possession.
So everything happened on Monday when you went to buy those cards?
No, it took them a while to drain the cards. So I went on Monday a week ago. The first card got drained on Tuesday of $200. The other two cards were drained in the around 12.2, 12.3, somewhere in that variety. And what was interesting is they took bits of money off these cards, not the whole thing.
Originally.
So the two $300 cards, they had like about $8 or $9 taken off, and then another $250 so odd dollars, and then another, the remainder, and then it got down to zero. So it was not done at one time.
So how
That
much
was interesting.
money are we talking about the euros and us?
$800.
$800 and
$800 is a lot of money. And it's coming out of a Sunday school group that puts money into the donation basket all year long in order to be able to provide for this kind of thing.
So you were thinking to help people with those
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
You know, what's the message that you can, send to those people that they're doing this, It's like they don't have nothing to do, just like doing bad things.
Well, I think there's, when you get a card and then all of a sudden you realize there's no money on it, which happens to all of us, there's sort of an embarrassment. You're afraid to go back to that person and say, I tried to use this card, but there was no money on it. I think you need to go and report it because, once again, I think this is a pretty major, I guess you would call it a scam, whatever way they are draining these cards, and the people that give you the cards need to know about it so that they also can go report this to Walmart. We're not the only ones this is happening to.
There's more people that maybe
There have got to be a lot more people. I couldn't have been the only person that picked out those special cards that this person had access to and drained. So, as Brenda said, there are hundreds of those cards sitting at the registers.
There and at other stores. I think the responsibility lies on the merchant. Lies on the merchant to protect the cards that they sell you. And if that requires them to be behind lock and key, before you purchase them, then that's where it should be.